Hello, thanks for stopping by. In this video, I'm creating a fun jellyfish shaker card. So first I'm going to be creating my card base panel, which is going to be a top folding 4 1/4 by 5.5 card. I'm also going to cut a 4 1/4 and 5.5 cardstock panel out of the same color as my card base die. Then using a slightly lighter shade of teal blue, I'm just going to cut a sort of random rectangle. It doesn't have to be perfect because you won't see the edges on the inside of the card. And that sort of squiggly opening is going to form the opening where we can view our sort of shaker bits. I'm going to use this silhouette underwater stamp set to create our underwater scene for our card. And so I'm just laying it on here just to get a sense of what the different stamps are, and I'm going to be using some embossing powder to create a tone-on-tone background using all of these images. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to create sort of a coral reef bottom using that strip and then some additional pieces because it doesn't quite cover a full it's not quite 4 1/4 inches across the width, so I'm going to use some of the additional coral stamps in that set to create the rest of the bottom. So it has one sort of continuous coral background and it looks like one stamp rather than several stamps put together. And then in order to create that tone-on-tone effect, I'm going to be using some clear embossing powder so that when I heat set it, it will be a little bit darker than the card panel, but kind of blend in. I'm now going to go ahead and cut out sort of our squiggly shape that will form the window of our card. And this is all on our card panel, by the way, just so I have a sense of where I want some of my other images. I'm going to add some additional images like different jellyfish and different fish and stuff around the border. So I wanted to have the cutout there so that I have a sense of where to put some of these different pieces. So here I'm adding some different fish and some fun little jellyfish. And again, adding that clear embossing powder, which once heat set will sort of give a tone-on-tone effect for our background. And then just adding a few more pieces on the side. I'm doing this in bits so that I can make sure that my ink doesn't dry before I'm able to apply the embossing powder, and then just so that I don't smudge the other embossing powder, I'm just stamping, applying my embossing powder and heat setting in that order, kind of in different iterations. Now I'm going to be stamping this larger jellyfish image on some shimmer vellum. So this will form sort of a sheer kind of jellyfish, and this will form sort of a focal point for our card. And I'm gonna, instead of using clear, this time I'm going to use white, so to sort of get that very clear, crisp, a different look than our clear embossing powder. So I'm gonna apply that embossing powder and then tap off the excess, and I'm gonna go ahead and heat set that. And then I'm gonna use the coordinating die cut to cut out this little image. And so once that's cut out and glued, it will be the focal point of our card. So now I'm going to create the shaker part. So I'm going to trim down some acetates using my paper trimmer, and then I'm going to put some glue around the edges of the sort of squiggly shape. I don't really know what it's called, but sort of the squiggly shape, and I'm going to adhere the acetate directly to the card panel. And off screen, I didn't actually film this on the lighter color of cardstock. I did add some additional images, so there's something in the background for behind our shaker pieces. And I used the same sort of technique that I described earlier with the clear embossing powder and such. So I glued that to the card base. And now I am adding foam adhesive to form the sort of base of our window, so the shaker bits have some room to move around. And I like to put this in my scoring tool so that I can make sure I line it up pretty well with my card base. So I'm taking off the foam tape, and then I'm going to be adding the shaker bits, just making sure that's oriented in the right direction. Now I'm adding a bunch of shaker bits. This is a mix from Trinity Stamps, and I believe in the name it says Jellyfish, so I thought it was perfect for this set. And I added quite a bit of shaker pieces just because I love to shake shaker cards. They're so much fun. So I just wanted to make sure there was a lot of fun shakiness to it. And now I'm gonna put the card base panel, make sure that's oriented correctly. And now for the best part, shaking. And I love the shaker bit noise, it's so much fun. And I'm gonna go ahead and stamp a sentiment. It's gonna be Happy Birthday Fishes. I'm sorry it gets cut off on the screen here, but I'm just gonna do a dark bluish color on this lighter color that matches our background. And I'll stamp that a couple times just to make sure it's good dark impression and it's legible, and then I'm gonna go ahead and die cut that out. And now I'm going to adhere our jellyfish. So when I sort of heat emboss on vellum, you can get away with putting just a tiny drop of glue behind the white parts so that it doesn't show through when it's glued down, just a tiny, tiny bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and adhere that to the front of our window. And then I'm gonna do the same to our Happy Birthday Fishes sentiment. I'm going to adhere it right to the front of the card base. Just need a little bit of extra glue. And this is their finished card. I just love the way shaking a shaker card. It's just so much fun. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you found some inspiration to make your own jellyfish shaker card.